There is no shortage of terrifying monsters in Native American folklore. We've previously discussed how Wendigos and Skinwalkers terrorize indigenous communities across North America with their insatiable lust for human flesh and chaos, but while those two may be the most widely known and feared, they are not the only dangers that indigenous people are taught to look out for. That's why today we are looking at three creatures from the Anishinaabe people, the Navajo Nation, and Wampanoag tribe with stories that'll only get more disturbing as we go on. My name is John Solo, and every Thursday I break down the messed up mythology and folklore of cultures all around the world and how they influence your favorite movies, shows, video games, and childhood stories. So if you want more of that in your life, remember to sacrifice those like and subscribe buttons to learn more messed up mythology and folklore every single Thursday, and then let's jump into it. Folklore and myth is often used to teach lessons and serve as an example for the proper way to conduct yourself. If you follow these lessons, you'll find yourself living a mostly happy life on a path to achieving greatness. If not, you'll end up like the Baykok. The Baykok comes from the Ojibwe and Chippewa tribes, where it's also known as a Pauguk, a word I'm definitely mispronouncing. Baykok comes from the Ojibwe word Bakakadozo, meaning be skinny. You can think of the Baykok as a distant cousin to the Wendigo, only instead of going full zombie mode after eating human flesh, they go zombie mode first. That's because the Baykok was a hunter who made the mistake of searching for game in a new territory completely on his own, believing he had the skills to survive. Only after tracking his prey deep into the wilderness, he got himself lost, and there was no sign of animal life around him. The hunter wandered for days with nothing to eat or drink, but as his physical form wasted away, his soul refused to leave his body. So after months of aimless wandering, nothing remained of him but skin and bones. Hence, Baykok is derived from the Ojibwe word Bakakadozo, which means be skinny. At this point, he finally sat down to rest. He collapsed next to a tree stump and stayed there for an unknown number of years, until he was suddenly woken up by an approaching hunter. This hunter had made the same mistake as the Baykok and had set out alone. What's more, he was the first flesh and blood the Baykok had seen in years. Not willing to miss a meal after starving for so long, the Baykok impaled the hunter with poison-tipped arrows, sending him crashing to the ground, paralyzed and vulnerable. The Baykok cautiously approaches its prey, rolls him over, and uses its hunting knife to create an opening in his flesh. It sticks its bony fingers inside, grabs hold of his liver, and pulls it out, ready to devour its first meal in a lifetime. But before retreating into the wilderness, it takes care to send its victim home with a parting gift. Where his liver once resided, the Baykok inserted a stone, then sewed up the wound to hide its crimes. Later that night, the Baykok would enjoy every savory bite of that liver, but the hunter returned home only to waste away and die in a matter of days. The Baykok story is told to teach children to avoid wandering into the woods alone, but also a reminder to hunters to practice caution in their craft, to be aware of their surroundings and not take unnecessary risks. If you don't heed the warning, you may end up being the Baykok's next victim, and there is no winning that fight, because you can't kill what's already dead. Now, as terrifying as it would be to have your liver harvested by an undead indigenous warrior, the Baykok may not be the scariest thing on this list. But before we move on, I want to say thanks to our sponsor, Squarespace. If you're looking to make some extra money, market your business, or just share your passion with the world, Squarespace has all the tools you need. Building a website used to be so complicated you had no choice but to hire a professional. But Squarespace has completely changed the game to make website creation not only affordable, but easy. Choose where you want to start from their massive library of award-winning templates and use their revolutionary Fluid engine to customize every detail with drag and drop technology. From there, what you can accomplish is only limited by your imagination. Easily list homemade goods for sale online and bless your customers with a seamless experience by accepting credit cards, PayPal, Apple Pay, and in eligible countries even offer the option to buy now and pay later with Afterpay and ClearPay. You can measure your website's performance with their comprehensive analytics that give insights on top traffic sources to help you understand how your reach is going, track your sales, and learn where to focus on on new engagement. It's everything you need to scale your brand or business laid out in front of your eyes. So if you want to take your small business, side hustle, or passion project to the next level, go to squarespace.com/JohnSolo to start a completely free trial and use code JohnSolo to get 10% off your first purchase. So it turns out the Wampanoag Nation has their own version of the leprechaun. It's called the Pukwudgie. And I pray to gods I'm pronouncing that right. Wait, nativelanguages.org says it's spoken Pukwudgie. And they're the experts, right? Pukwudgie is a word that means person of the wilderness. These are small, shape-shifting, troll-like beings with hair that resembles the quills of a porcupine, and they reside in the forests of Massachusetts. Standing 3 foot tall at the most, Pukwudgie can either be cute little helpers or pint-sized slashers. Most of their interactions with humans consist of harmless, albeit annoying pranks, like turning into mosquitoes to disrupt ritual dances, but some of these tricks are just in poor taste. In previous episodes, I've talked about the will-o'-the-wisps from European folklore. These are glowing orbs of light that appear in bogs, swamps, and marshes as a result of swamp gases being ignited by static electricity. Lost travelers would mistake these lights for lanterns and chase after them, resulting in them getting even more lost or mistakenly stepping into deep water and drowning. The reason I bring this up is because Pukwudgie are capable of summoning similar orbs of light in order to lure potential victims into the woods. The lucky ones would be robbed, beaten, and sent on their way home, while the unlucky majority would be killed in brutal fashion. And the worst part about that is killing only makes them more powerful, for they control the Te Pai Wonkas, the spirits of those they kill. Meaning if they claim your life, they also claim your soul. Pukwudgie are unpredictable, dangerous, kind of adorable little demons who the Wampanoag do not look upon favorably. But their relationship wasn't always this way. You see, the Wampanoag had a lot of love and adoration for a creation giant called Moship, who they believed created most of Cape Cod, which is found in southeastern Massachusetts. The Pukwudgie were jealous of all the love and adoration Moship was getting, so they tried to help the Wampanoag in their own way. But that way usually backfired and only made things worse. So the Pukwudgie, realizing how miserable they made humans when trying to help, settled on a new mission. See how much damage they could do intentionally. Lucky for the Wampanoags, Moship was around to help them deal with their newfound enemy. He picked up as many of the Pukwudgie as he could and threw them across the country, which he figured was a fine solution. What he didn't expect was for so many to survive and come back to Massachusetts with a vengeance, this time abducting and murdering Wampanoag children. Moship's wife, Granny Squanet, saw this bloodshed and told her husband to finish what he started. But Moship was a bit lazy, and so he sent his 5 sons to do it instead. Alas, they were even less successful than their father, and after being lured into some tall grass, they were shot dead with magic arrows. As you would expect, this enraged Moship and Squanet, and so the two went on a rampage, killing as many Pukwudgie as they could. Even still, the little bastards managed to regroup and ambushed Moship while he was in the water, killing him with the same magic arrows that killed his sons. To summarize this entry for my Massachusetts viewers, do not f*** with Pukwudgie. They've survived the wrath of gods and even murdered a few for good measure, so I'll repeat, do not f*** with Pukwudgie. The Chindi is a being from Navajo folklore that must be avoided at all costs. Coming into physical contact with it could mean the possession of your body, the loss of your sanity, and the death of every single one of your friends and family. The Navajo word Chindi refers to a ghost or malevolent spirit, but what makes this one so horrifying is that it's made from the worst parts of a person's soul. You see, the Navajo believe that when a person takes their final breath, everything that's bad or out of harmony is released into the mortal plane, while the pure part of their soul moves on to the spirit world. Because of this, the Navajo choose to allow death to happen outdoors whenever possible. Otherwise, it's mandatory to abandon any structure that a person has died in, as a Chindi might claim it as its new home. If one were to come into contact with a Chindi, you could contract ghost sickness. Lethargy, overwhelming sadness, and feelings of dread and impending doom will plague your waking moments while your nights are haunted by nightmares. Worse than that though, you could lose control of your own body. The malevolent spirit will overwhelm your mind with the negative energy its previous host left behind. All the fear, sadness, rejection, anxiety, humiliation, and these new unfiltered feelings could trigger sadistic behavior that you've never exhibited before. Now, it is said that the Chindi's malevolence and ferocity could be used for the power of good, as they sometimes act as vengeful spirits on behalf of Mother Earth and punish those who disrespect her. But your best bet is to avoid getting possessed in the first place. The way to do this is, again, bring your loved ones outside when they die so the Chindi can dissipate into the air. But this isn't always possible, so the Navajo can also perform sacred rituals that detach the Chindi from your body and restore balance to the living. They take every precaution to avoid killing the afflicted, because that just releases a new Chindi with even more negative energy to possess someone else with. Not to mention, it can come after the killer to take revenge. And you really don't want that. One of the most well-known Chindi folktales follows the Long Salt clan, who back in 1825 had hundreds of members, but after pissing off a Chindi, they were erased from the earth. The story goes that a Long Salt tribesman felt like he was being haunted by the Chindi of a man he killed years before, and so he recruited a medicine man to get rid of it. The medicine man was happy to help, and over the next 3 days conducted the necessary ritual to rid them of the spirit, but problems arose not long after. You see, instead of paying the priest the 5 butchered sheep that he requested, some of the Long Salts devised a plan. They knew the medicine man was blind and figured they could save themselves the trouble of going all the way back to their farm and hauling 5 sheep back to him by bringing him the carcasses of 5 wild antelopes. At first, the priest accepted the payment, never suspecting they would cheat him out of his sacred services, but he realized the truth that night when he tried cooking the meat. To punish them for their wicked ways, he cursed their clan to be haunted by the Chindi, and within a few weeks, their members were dropping dead, one after the other. Right away, the original Long Salt tribesman who started this mess realized the priest must have something to do with it and sought him out to beg for forgiveness. And he almost got it. But before he could make good on what he owed, the medicine man died, leaving the clan to suffer the Chindi's wrath. Over the next century, every single one of the Long Salts passed away. Even those who married into the family died under mysterious circumstances soon after. Their final surviving member was a woman named Alice, but despite her taking every precaution, and even other Navajo vowing to keep her safe, she was killed in a snowstorm in 1928. I don't know if it gets more messed up than a pissed off spirit causing the deaths of hundreds of innocent people, so that's where your input comes in. Which of today's creatures would you least want pursuing you for revenge? The Liver Eater, the God Killers, or the ethereal essence of evil? Let me know in a comment. Then remember to sacrifice those like and subscribe buttons to get more messed up mythology and folklore sent to your sub box every Thursday, and new messed up shorts every other day of the week. Until next time, my name is John Solo, and remember, John shot first.